So yeah, listening to The Fool was a very emotional experience for me. In the opener, I was very curious, and then I quickly felt a wide range of emotions of like confidence, anger, pain, and I felt really beautiful listening to this album and also vulnerable. And it was just a really interesting experience. And I wanted to begin by hearing about your journey as an artist and any experiences you can recount that influenced your growth to becoming such an iconic and powerful and intelligent writer and artist. I've read a lot of your blog, and like aside from songwriting, you do a lot of powerful, enlightening, like personal writing. It would be interesting to hear about how you got to where you are now.
Well, first of all, thank you for taking in the album and feeling all of those feelings, because that it really touches me, because those are all the feelings that I was feeling in making the album and in just simply being an artist, being a human being, you know. So to answer your question as to what brought me here to the place that I am, it's really being human. And it's really interacting with people, having life experiences, traveling, friendships, love, heartbreak, birth, death, the world, observing, journaling, tarot, astrology, all of the things that really pull to my heart and my soul, music, all different types of music. It's really the things that really pull my emotions to a place where it's just, I want to feel raw. I want to feel, like I want to feel all the stuff that is so many times prettied up and cleaned up. And I have those like insecurities about being raw or not being pretty enough with my vocals or but still I gravitate towards that because it's real for me. So I think that answered your question.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic answer. And I want to ask more about like the tarot cards and numerology a little bit later, because I was very interested by this aspect. But standard question, like what are some of the biggest like artist and cultural influences in your music career?
My mother, first and foremost, Salome Bay. I wouldn't be who I am without her on every single level, you know. I mean, a lot of what she was listening to, she did a lot of research on plays and everything. So to create the plays that she wrote. So Ma Rainey came in, Bessie Smith, Big Mama Thornton. So those are foundations for me, cultural icons, blues women, the first punk women ever, you know. Betty Davis is huge, is a massive, massive influence on me. When I found her, that really changed a lot for me, or brought things into focus for me. She reminds me a lot of my mother, but they're two different, they're one coin, two different sides of one coin, you know, for me. Eartha Kitt, Josephine Baker, Soundgarden, Pink Floyd, Black Sabbath. I mean, the Beatles, like there are a lot of, I really, as I said, I really gravitate towards things that just pull me, move me, you know. Remember when I heard the Sex Pistols for the first time, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, recently it's been Trent Reznor and Nine Inch Nails, and just, you know, I get into things late in life, after the trends, after everyone's been talking about it, and discover it on my own time. Alejandro Jodorowsky, who did the Holy Mountain, has been like a real big kind of interesting influence, Van Gogh and Dali and Twyla Tharp and Bob Fosse and like all over the
place.
You know? Yeah.
Wild. Yeah. It's a weird question to ask about like artist influences because like, I mean, like they're all well known, but I think each like artist kind of touches you in a way that's hard to explain almost, or like to like convey to another person. But
yeah. I mean, I think it's, as I said, it's not just artists that move me, that brought me here. It's conversations with people. It's books. It's, you know, it's Thich Nhat Hanh. It's you know, he's not so popular, but Osho, you know, it's Tao, it's Zen, it's like doing meditation. It's all of these things that really, it's really the reflection of myself, bringing me back to self, where I uncover parts of myself and I go, oh, shit, that really resonates, you know, and diving deeper into why it resonates for me and really holding that.
That is really interesting about the Tao. I've been hearing more and more about this concept of like coming into touch with like oneself, especially given like how like busy things almost are now and like how not in touch we are. It's so easy to just be like, I'm like constantly distracted and not so like aware of like what's going on with me. And I think it's like really important, an interesting idea that should be kind of talked about and explained to people more. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the first book that I read that spoke about Taoism was The Tao of Pooh, like Winnie the Pooh. It's a great book. It's a really, really, really great book. And then it was Osho's book, the Tao, the Pathless Path. And that really shifted me a lot. And essentially, it spoke about Taoism is not like a religion. It's not something to follow. That's why, well, him writing The Pathless Path is like, it's not a path that you follow. But it's a path that is laid. It's there. And it's really talking about things being what they are. It is what it is. It's not good or bad. It just is. So not to get caught up in the whole, like, holding on to that good feeling or reaching for that joy and good, like, yes, reach for the joy, be in the joy, but just be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a difficult concept to wrap your head around, but like just kind of accepting that like maybe there is no like way you can control what's happening.
Oh, there's
kind of accepting
and observing.
What happens. Yeah,
observing, being observation versus absorbing, and that's a very, very challenging practice. Yeah. It's a very challenging practice because so quickly we can get triggered and you know, where we talk about there's a lot of conversation around triggering and trauma and those things. So it's standing. I mean, I can tie this into the tarot. I can tie this into the one card that really speaks about this for me is the Wheel of Fortune. And it's the wheel that goes around. You either find yourself in the middle of the wheel, which is in the middle of the storm, in the middle of the tornado, or you find yourself on the outside being whirled around, being like flung around. So you can be in the chaos of it, or you can be right in the center of it, observing the chaos around you. You know? Yeah.
So how and when did you begin this journey of numerology and astrology? I read in your blog, you discuss your album making journey was ignited by this process of reflection and trusting the messages being sent to you by the universe. Can you expand upon this process of realization and growth as an artist and also like how it changed your outlook entering 2022, like this year?
Astrology's been in my life for as long as I can remember. That's a conversational language that has been spoken in my family since I was a kid. In my, especially on my mom's side of the family. Numerology came in around maybe 20 some odd years ago, but I didn't realize what numerology was, but I was always taking note of what the numbers, repeating numbers. Yes, 1111, but I actually started understanding that whenever I'd see numbers, I'd start adding them up. And I'd be like, what does that mean? But I would add them up because I always wanted to get to the number 10. 10 is my favorite number. And when I was introduced to numerology by my sister, then I just started going deeper into the meaning of numbers and the significance of numbers, and then really paying attention to what those vibrations were and coinciding with what was happening at that moment. So really giving me a chance to be present in the moment of what my thoughts were, what was happening around me, what conversation was happening, what did I call in, what's being reminded of to me. In terms of moving into 2022, it's just gotten deeper. It hasn't changed. It's just gotten deeper. It's gotten wider, more expansive, and I've moved more into a place of trusting and grounding in like my own gifts, my individual unique gifts, and really coming back to self, and understanding that the gifts that I have always been with me. Like I can look back years into my childhood and say, oh, I've always been doing this. I've been doing this all my life. I've been intuitive all my life. I've been psychic all my life. I've been reading things all my life. I just didn't know. I've been, on my last album, Red, Black, and Blue, I was exploring the energies that my guides, the Blue Butterfly, Black Panther, and Red Robin, what their messages were for me pertaining to my relationships with my sister, my child, and my mother. So it was a challenging time. So they were bringing wisdom for me. They were bringing medicine for me. But I've always been like that. I gravitated towards the butterfly. I gravitated towards the robin. I gravitated towards the panther. So I have to ask myself, why do I gravitate towards them? What do they have for me? Why do I feel such an affinity? So that's always the way I've, I guess, governed my life.
Okay.
It's just gotten deeper.
Do you find that you have to remind yourself to ask these questions? Is it easy to kind of get distracted and you have to remind yourself to refocus? Or
absolutely.
Is it intrinsic to...
I'm human.
Yeah. I imagine it's just very difficult to I find it difficult to reflect. So have you, how do you, I guess, continue and ensure that you are doing this?
Well, it is practice. It is ritual. It is sacred. It's a daily thing. It's also, there's a feeling inside of me that happens. There's a texture that I feel that I can't explain, and I can't deny it. So yes, of course I get distracted. I totally get distracted. I totally get consumed into social media and everything, because it's
impossible
just it, right?
Yeah.
But I also know that in that distraction, there's the question of, okay, am I running away from something? What am I not being present with? When my body, my physical body starts reacting in certain ways, I start investigating. I start digging. Okay, what did I eat? What did I consume? Eat through my mouth. What did I see? What did I consume? What did I consume listening to? What did I consume taking in? What am I taking in? And what is not aligned with me? And it's just a practice. Yeah, some days it's hard, but somehow I come back to that grounding of my body shows up for me every day, whether or not I want it to.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to, okay, well, if my body shows up, I can show up. I can try this. I can do this bit by bit. Be gentle, mantras, affirmations, be gentle, be kind, I'm enough, all of these things. Just what am I consuming,
Yeah, it's a really important question for sure. That I should ask myself a lot more than I do.
Yeah. And it's okay to not, just because it's on the table doesn't mean you got to eat it.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of focus when an artist releases a new album or new work is like, okay, where were you at? Your life experiences and influences that came to producing this. And in contrast, I think an important question is how the artist feels like after the release of their project. So I wanted to ask, what was the impact of this release of The Fool? And the
relief, release. I mean, it really was a journey. I think every album is a journey for an artist. Red, Black, and Blue was a journey for me. It took a while, there are certain things that I'm really precious about, and I have every right to be, as the artist putting it out, and as it's me, it's that piece of me that, am I ready to give it over? Do I want it to sound like this? Is this the way that it feels in my body? I always come back to how it feels in my body, because as a child, as a teenager, I'm still a dancer, but that's not my profession, but I trained as a dancer. So music moves me. And that's the way I really, I guess, validate the sounds that I'm making. If it moves me, or the sounds that I'm hearing, if it moves me, then I'm like, yeah, I like that. Release, it took, I started writing and gathering stuff for The Fool in 2017, started recording it in 2018, mixed and mastered it. And then, released Dirty Little Lie in 2019. And then I was like, yeah, I think I need to go back in. I don't think I can release this yet. So went back in and redid vocals and added things like the interludes, so it became more of it. We were in lockdown. So I was at home by myself, with myself. And I was like, okay, I'm going in. And it was scary as fuck. And I cried a lot, and I threw shit, and I wanted to scrap it. And I was very insecure, and I was very mean to myself sometimes. And,
Yeah.
but I saw there was a light at the end of the tunnel, and I was like, I know what I want it to feel like. It was just climbing it. It's just getting to the edge of the cliff to jump off, So The Fool was a journey. The Fool was a journey.
Mm-hmm. And do you think taking those breaks helped, like, in the process?
I mean, yeah, I will say yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm thoroughly, deeply proud of what I made. I love it to pieces. I love it to pieces. And that's where I needed to get. I was like, I could do this for other people. I could do this for the people listening. And yes, essentially, I want people to love it. But if I don't love it, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, Yeah. And because there were pieces of it I didn't fucking love, and I just couldn't do it. So I needed to get that right with myself.
Yeah. That sounds like, I have no idea how that experience would be like, but it sounds like so like emotionally like draining and exhausting. And
it is all of that. It is all of that. And just meeting, it's really
like pushing
yourself.
Your like absolute like limits.
Yeah. Because I hadn't been on tour, hadn't played a show. The last one was August 2019. So going back into The Fool, I think I did maybe one online thing in 2020, and I hated it. I mean, it was okay. It was fine.
Yeah.
But it was fine. I was like, I don't want fine. That's not my standard for me. So going back in 2021, after also my mother transitioning, so I was grieving, and just not singing really.
Yeah. Going
back into the studio to like hear, like be really intimate with my voice. Oh my God, I hated it. It was so, so I just had to find myself. I really had to not fight for, but really walk with intention towards self-acceptance. Walk with pure intention, just self-acceptance. This is me. This is what my voice sounds like. This is what my voice sounds like singing my music. This is my message. How does that feel,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because I know you mentioned that like the Fool, the tarot card is like, it's your card. You've said like, it's my card. It permeates my existence.
Mm-hmm.
It pulls me to the edge to step into places that I dream to live in.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind expanding on this and kind of explaining what the meaning of the Fool is and the significance of this like tarot card in your music and art and in life?
So, I mean, the title of The Fool came around with numbers. I was seeing 11 and 22. And when I finally figured out that, 11, the short version of this story, because I've written it in a blog, but 11 is justice in the major arcana, and justice is connected to the Libra symbol, or the Libra astrological sign, which is me.
I'm a Libra too.
Ha! Amazing. So you feel that, yeah, we're pretty deep. We get really, because we're fighting for the justice, the balance, and going from one extreme to the other is
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
I really resonate with just like, I have a feeling of like internal like struggle, like when I'm faced with decisions that I like seeing so many sides to something is something like I have an issue with like a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's challenging. It's challenging, but it's an amazing gift that we have to be able to hold all of these perspectives and actually give everything justice, give everyone an ear to be able to hear, to voice their place and understand how they got to that place and be like, okay, so there's this compassion. We're very compassionate people, right? So the 22 I figured out was the Fool. When I figured that out and I started reading deeper into the Fool and understood that it is the card that talks of it's new beginnings, but it's also about trusting the universe. It's also about being called a fool for trusting, for stepping off the cliff. And I thought about all the times that I've felt foolish, or I've heard that I'm a fool, or like, you're crazy. Why would you do that? Or the second guessing that comes in. I'm like, oh gosh, that's me making music. That's me stepping on stage. That's me starting a whole new project. That's me when I get this idea, this surge, and I go, I got to do it. I don't know how I'm going to do this. This is crazy. That's the fool energy to me. So yeah, that permeates through everything. I mean, it permeates through when I decide to cook a dish, or when I'm making collage art, or when I decide, oh, I want to see this, I want to wear this outfit on stage, or I want the song to sound like this. This is how I hear it. And maybe co-writers are like, that's not a conventional way. And I'm like, that's the way I hear it, So it's like the Fool is being unapologetically yourself, and in the face of someone calling you a fool.
Yeah. That's interesting. To further on that, I heard that you like designed the tarot cards for the songs yourself, because like you had this vision that like couldn't be like, I guess, replicated by someone else. So you took a Photoshop class to do that yourself, which
yes. I'm like, no, it's amazing. It's amazing because I did have there were a couple of other designers that I was working with, and they honestly, they ghosted on me, and it was really devastating. Yeah. And finally, the last one that did, I was like, fuck, am I going to have to find somebody else? But I had sketched out all of my ideas, so I knew exactly what I wanted to see, and I'd done so much research. Like, I have stacks of tarot books that I've been going through, and just my own readings and courses that I've taken just to go deeper into, because I really didn't want to fuck around with the symbolism and be like, just put anything up or replicate the Rider-Waite or replicate any other tarot decks that I had just because that's what was there. I really wanted to go deep into, why is this here? You know, really, and how does that resonate with me? And how can I convey that with my own interpretation of what I see or what I feel when I make, when I see the cards. So I took a few.
It's a lot of extra education and work.
Yeah, but you know what? Definitely. In the end, it just supports my intuition. It supported everything that I already knew, and it deepened it further. So now it's like astrology is a language, numerology is a language, tarot is a language, just like any other language.
Mm-hmm. And similar, like with the short film, did you have a lot of like a large role in the direction and cinematography with the short film and how you wanted it to be like directed and like the vision overall?
Yes and no. I think the biggest visual that I had was me and my girls on bikes.
That was very cool. Like,
yeah.
Like, wow.
I had that vision in my spirit, just like circling around me for years and years and years. And I was like, I really want to do this. I see this, really want to do this. And it just never came to pass. It never came to pass. And then this was the opportunity. And I told the director, and he was like, yeah, that's fucking cool. Yeah, we're going to do that, but otherwise meeting Andrew, like from the moment that I met him, he hadn't even opened his mouth. And I was like, I like him. Yeah. This is it. I'm good, And so when he came with what he was feeling in the vision and everything based on what I had told him about what the album's about, and he totally got it. And I was like, there's not much that I need to tell you, Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the short film, and you see different versions of yourself in it and a lot of different scenery and the return to like the forest or like the garden. Mm-hmm. What does that mean, or what does the garden symbolize in this?
The forest?
Yeah, the forest, yeah.
I mean, it's the wild, it's the self, it's the raw, it's the search, okay. It's the refinding, the remembering.
Yeah, the beginning almost triggered my like fight or flight response, like the first like 15 seconds. Mm-hmm. It was like really just like an interesting kind of like adjustment that I had there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where am I going? What's happening? What's going on? And I think that's also a lot of what the Fool energy is. It's stepping into that unknown. It's stepping into the void of like, what am I doing? Where am I going? I don't know what. So there's like, there's a fight or flight, but it's about coming to the wheel of fortune, coming into the middle versus being flipped around on the edges, just calm and like, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay in the dark. You're okay when you close your eyes. You were very much okay in your mother's womb. You're very okay in the night when the moon is out and the stars are out. Those are all dark and void and unknown. Like the dark and the void and the unknown is just the beginning of an idea. Like these things it's okay to be in that place of, I don't know, and just opening up and allowing for the knowing to come, because
Yeah. So I know we're approaching on 40 minutes, so I'm gonna just
we're about to get cut. Shut
two more questions. So I wanted to ask quickly about the Howler. This was an especially powerful song for me to hear, and I really love the static hard rock, and also just your voice that is very like raging, raw, and also like very feminine. Can you expand on the importance of this song for women?
It is an anthem for don't take shit from anybody. Be as raw and as sexy and as demure, as aggressive, as soft, as hard, as
So important. Yeah. Okay, I definitely got that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. It was
all of the things. There's no way to be a woman. There's
no right way. Yeah. Like very important song, especially like with all of the like pressures. I mean, that have been with women forever, but like, I mean, it's just very impossible to sometimes accept yourself. When there's like a million voices out there telling you to like shut up and, you know,
and then you turn around and say fuck off and you shut up and let me figure. That's coming back to self again, because as you said, we say there's no right way, there's no wrong way, there's only the way.
I listened to that song before meeting with my supervisor. Like right before, it was like really, it was necessary.
You're like, I'm not going to take any shit. Yeah. This is what's happening. And it's happening this way. And I mean, like, don't back down. Don't compromise, you know, don't compromise to lose yourself. Compromise if it's going to be a collaboration.
Okay.
You know?
So for our listeners who maybe want to see you live, do you have any upcoming shows or like maybe upcoming like tour or like any future projects that we should be aware of?
Well, I have on March 22nd, I'm playing at the Alma Combo.
Awesome.
And then March 26th, I will be in Detroit, actually.
Oh, cool.
With a bunch of badass sisters celebrating Betty Davis. So
wow, that'll be crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. I've done this show before. This show has been on for I want to say 15 years. It might be more 15 years. But every year it's just like joy is on this. Some amazing female Black women rock and rollers, like rock, just slay. It's going to be so electric and so powerful, so empowering, so inspiring. And I encourage everyone to take a trip. If you're in Canada, take a trip, or anywhere in the States, take a trip to Detroit and get your ticket to be there.
When did you say that was?
That's March 26th.
26th. Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. This was a very insightful and like educating conversation. And just like, I'm very excited for our viewers to hear it.
Thank you so much, Olivia.
Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
To you. Yes, you too.